Hey, it's me, Amani Pizza, the Armory Pizza. I'm here to remind you about Camp Green Tree, a flesh and blood summer camp happening this August the 16th through the 18th. We've got all kinds of flesh and blood themed camp activities for you, so make sure to check it out. Saturday, there's a 5K Realm Brawl, and Sunday, a 2K Blitz tournament. So you're not going to want to miss it. And hey, Brody, leave the ham sandwiches at home, will ya? There's going to be food trucks all weekend long. So make sure to head over to gscfab.com. That's gscfab.com to get your tickets. And I'll see you at summer camp. And stay pizza!
Hello and welcome back to the O3 Dropcast, the show where we cover the offbeat, off-meta Legends of the Armory, the only show where at least two of the three hosts are responsible for our Twitter being full of Viagra ads. I'm not pointing any fingers, but one of them is probably me. That was a horrible way to open. I actually regret that so much. That was gross. I thought it was funny though. I was on our Twitter and like our ads that we're getting, our targeted ads are all like I was getting so many like things of like, this is your body with like 0 days of alcohol, and it's someone like sad, and then it's like 2 days without alcohol, and it's someone like ripped. And I'm like, I've been 3 years without alcohol, and I don't look anything like
what
that.
What is driving that? Was it just your dank memes that are like getting into that now? Like
Elon Musk knows what Craig needs.
Yeah, he's just shaming me. He's like, I thought you were gonna get fit when you got sober. I'm like, fuck you, Elon. Anyway, I'm Poopy, one of your hosts, joined by my lovely two virile hosts, Smithville.
Hey, Craig.
I'm so sorry, Mistveil.
He doesn't even have anything to add after that. That's
Hi, I'm here.
What the people don't see is that we've already been talking for an hour about things, and I'm like, I feel like we've already said hi to each other. I don't know what to do.
Oh yeah. And we're also joined by Brice.
Hi, it me. I was being very serious last week, and I'm still looking for people to help me farm Hell Tides. I got all those the skulls to summon the thing. I forget what it's called, but it's the one where you just get all the waves. Come on, guys. We gotta get some experience here.
So if you're out there farming Hell Tides and you have not reached out to Brice, what are you doing?
We have a clan.
You know
we
what?
have a clan in Diablo 4. Come join us. Not for O3, for the local Fab community. But a couple of us got a little clan. It's FAB, Furious and Bored, because Flesh and Blood was already taken.
And you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say it. If you're out there farming Hell Tides and you haven't liked and subscribed, what are you doing?
What's going on?
If you're out there farming Hell Tides and you haven't liked and subscribed, leave a comment down below as to why.
I hope you get no ancestral uniques.
I hate what we've become.
I know that I also need help. Unfortunately, Hades 2 is not co-op, and I gotta say, I cannot get through the second level. I remember how difficult it was the first time I played Hades 1, but this one is just, for some reason, I don't know if I was this bad at Hades 1. Like, I think I felt like I was better.
You forget how bad it feels early. Yeah.
We're not a Hades podcast, but I did see something very, very targeted about that, where somebody mentioned, like, this game is not Hades 1. There is no build that you can just brute force things the way you could. Like, you can't just stack up defensively and do all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not an option.
I will say, spoiler alert here for people that haven't followed anything, because I got yelled at in the one Discord we're in once for this. I am going to talk about the final boss here. once you beat Kronos, it gets a lot easier. Like, you just basically like,
That was the same in
Yeah.
Hades 1.
yeah, it's basically like, here's a lot of resources, have fun. And then you're just like, like I'm unstoppable. And so
Yeah,
it helps.
I just found out that, like, I have done so many runs. I just found out that you could upgrade your, like, soul. You know,
Tim
anyway.
had the same issue. Yeah.
yeah. So, welcome to the podcast. This week we're going to be talking about our upcoming pre-release for part the Mistveil, which means we are going to be talking about cards that might signal to you as a new deck builder what hero you might want to play, what approach you're going to take, and just overall what is gas, what is chaff, and you guys ready to dive right in, or do we want to? Is there anything you guys want to talk about from any armories you went to this week?
So, not anything about armories or anything I went to, but if somebody can please teach me Enigma, that would be great, because I am banging my head against the wall trying to figure her out, and I can't quite do it. So I will accept any Enigma help that people are willing to throw my way.
I'm loving right now that the Enigma is kind of shaking out in a way that I predicted, in that, like, players who, like, are okay at the game, maybe even good at the game, but not great. Like, the floor for Enigma is low. The ceiling for Enigma is through the roof. Like, a good Enigma player is just going to eat up okay players. Like, I'm excited to see where Enigma goes. And I will say, I did do a little proxying. I proxied the Enigma Blitz deck. I wanted to get a feel of whether or not this was going to be a product that I wanted to buy for my personal collection. Just, play one-on-one games between people, and we proxied, and we did an Enigma mirror. And if you haven't read Enigma and you don't know how these cards work before you go to your pre-release, I strongly recommend you do so, because there will be time in these rounds, and if you're in an Enigma mirror, you will go to time, very likely. And we'll get into that as we start looking into these cards. I will say, I found what I was the proxy list that we had made to be quite fun. We also did a draft online. There was an online draft tool that someone found, so we were able to do that. So haven't got our hands on the cards yet, but have a little experience playing, and it feels quite good. Let's start off with our heroes here. If you aren't aware, this is a set that has an illusionist, an assassin, and a ninja. Now, we've talked in the past about the ones we're most excited for. What do you guys think is the most new player-friendly one? Based off of the cards we've seen, is there anyone that you think this is someone who's never played the game? Let's look here first, because we'll go through that list first.
I would probably say a new may be the most new friendly, new player friendly, only because it's a pretty simple plan, especially in sealed, of attack, react. You don't have to worry about ward. You don't have to worry about making and buffing tigers. It's just, here's the value of an attack. Here's a card that makes said value different value. Sure, there's more nuances about banishing and things like that, and when to do chi and all that, but it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Brice, do you agree?
Usually, I'd say that the ninja is going to be the easiest one to go for, right? Because it's you're aggro, you're just play a bunch of attacks in a row. But like, I think all three of the heroes add a little bit extra of a complication to their normal traditional play styles on this set versus what we've seen before. That goes without saying with illusionist all the time, and I guess technically with assassin, like, we haven't seen a lot of, there's only the couple that exist already, so there's not really like anything too set in stone with it. But all of these heroes are just very different from their existing counterparts, and that maybe that means that ninja is not the most I'm gonna get yelled at for saying brainless because like there's no fab deck that's brainless, but in a sealed or a draft in any kind of limited format, it always seems like ninjas are just like you get your go again,
Sure.
you get your combos, and that should be easy mode for you, right? Like
There's a lot that goes into it, okay? It's not all just play out your hand.
actively
Okay?
talking shit on the ninja main, like right below me
You
here.
actually have to think pretty hard. Well, I agree. Actually, with your guys' assessment that New is probably going to be the most beginner friendly. I think she's got a clear win button in her ability, and I think that a good place to look at the beginning when you're thinking about what hero to pick is always going to start with equipment. So I brought up the equipment page here. Let's actually ignore assassin for a minute and just go right to what we have as just pure mystic equipment, because these are going to be available to all heroes. And maybe we can see here if we find anything that says, okay, this is where let's consider running this in our new deck. And so first up, Aqua Seeing Shell. It is cloaked, which means it starts face down, and for 3 resources, you can turn it face up and draw a card, and you also destroy it at the start of your turn. So you're going to want to do this defensively to get the block value out of it. I don't think there's really any cards in this set that say if you've drawn a card, but there are plenty of cards in this that care about having pitched to blue. So you can use this on offense as well, just to replace a blue card. You know, if you do have a card that is modal, has additional modes, if you've pitched depending on how many blue cards. Obviously, I think the card that I'm referring to is called Levels of Enlightenment. I'm sure we'll see that later. This can be very useful offensively. Does this scream new to you guys? Is there any hero that this jumps out as a must run?
It feels good for like basically everybody, because it's, I mean, I think it's a hand fixer for whoever needs it. Like you're gonna have a lot of blues, and feels like you're gonna have a lot of blues no matter what hero you're playing.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I think if you get a hand where you have a lot of no blocks or something like this kind of gives you a potential out, to kind of deal with something. But I mean, I'm not blown away with the card, but if you have no other options, this is fine.
Can I tell you, I actually am really impressed by this card for Enigma as a way to turn on your wards that get additional value from having a blue pitch in your pitch zone,
Sure.
and getting rid of an instant from your hand if you're looking to dig for blocks. So I actually do like this quite a bit. I certainly think if you have one of these and no other headpiece, you're definitely going to be running it, which is, pretty obvious, but you do get 8 packs. So hopefully you should have a headpiece, but if you only get this, don't worry. It's still definitely a valuable piece. Let's move on to the next one. Koi Blessed Kimono also has cloaks. That's going to be common among all of these mystic equipment, I believe. While this is equipped face down at the start of your turn, if you have exactly 1 life, you may turn this face up. When this is turned face up, destroy it, search your deck for an inner chi, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So at the start of your turn, you can turn this face up if you have exactly 1 life, and you can go get a chi. Inner chi, which will have required that you've transcended this game.
Yeah.
But I think this is pretty good. I wish it had a block value. But this, to me, is very reminiscent of the Legendary Mystic piece, but for limited. Being able to search for an inner chi does a lot of things. Helps you a lot. So do you guys think, what do you guys think of this one?
So I like it. I mean, the way I kind of read this is, especially with sealed, this format being limited to a 30 card deck, you can't go over, can't go under. There's going to be a lot of second cycle matches. There's going to be time, especially like, we were talking about new, where you may have a rough second cycle, and, being able to flip this up, get an inner chi, and then use your new ability to basically go ahead, banish something, get rid of something out of their, deck potentially, Again, probably lots of blues in the sealed format here, so chances of you hitting something that Nuke could banish is good, and then being able to play something without having to dig through your own deck and continue to kind of whittle away resources, I think is good. The thing that I have a fear about with this, and the other ones that say if you have exactly one life, is people are going to make misplays in an attempt to get to the one life to do this at a suboptimal time. So I think it's just hey, play smart. When you get to one, you may turn it. You don't have to, but wait for that perfect time to do it where you say, "This is my out."
Yeah, that's
Brice, how are you feeling?
that's so true. Like you're sitting there thinking about this, like, oh man, if I can get into this turn with 1 health, that'll be great. It'll turn on the kimono. And I mean that ability, yeah, that's a game ender for new. I do think there's also a lot of value if you're in that situation with Enigma. That's gonna allow you to get one more spectral. That's gonna allow you, because you're gonna be able to just go fetch that chi, and it's gonna give you either going to give you one more damage prevention, or best case scenario, it's going to give you a very, very beneficial starter for your next turn, being able to start with a to go against Spectral Shield, which when you're in that, like, I mean, had enough limited games where if you're in that situation at the end of the game, you're literally just kind of waiting to see who can get go again, like who's going to be able to present more than one attack. In that really kind of grindy end phase where you're just kind of blocking everything else out. So, and then as far as oh my gosh, as far as Zen goes, probably the same, right? Like being able to fetch a chi is gonna help you like present a little more aggro in turns like that. But I think all in all, like I get really nervous about cards that rely on you. Oh, if like you're at exactly 1 health, like specifically for the reason that Chris said, is you're gonna say, well, if I take this damage, I can go into my turn at 1, forgetting to account for like an attack reaction or something.
Well, we're going to see that almost all of the chess pieces have this requirement
I
of
know.
being at exactly 1. And I do think this is a very strong ability to search for a chi, but it not having a block value is unique. The Illusionist has Ward, Assassin has Battle Worn 2, Ninja has Blade Break 3. I think that makes this one, I don't think it's bad, but I don't know that I'm comfortable running armor with no block. The best part about this, I think, is the fact that everything has cloaked. So that, maybe your opponent is like, oh, I got him to 1 at the end of my turn. Great, because they didn't flip their blade break, and maybe I know that's coming next turn. I can try and plan around that, or maybe I think being able to flip this at the beginning of your turn and get a chi is really powerful. But I think we'll see how this one fares as we look at some of the others. This next one, Waves of Aquamarine. I have an opinion on this. I think this is a great new card, and I think it is not the best in slot for new, but I do think if you see this and you're considering new, and this is your only arm piece, then this is a great sign to go into new. I think if all of your equipment is kind of mid, you have the pool to do any hero, but you see this, I think this is certainly a card that new gets the most out of, because new cares often about the number of reactions that you've done this turn. This isn't quite as good as the other one, which will get you 2 reactions, but it is certainly playable in new.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with this is it's basically the Arousing Wave, but instead of getting to use it as an attack reaction and a defensive card, because Arousing Wave again has Battle Worn on it, you just have to make that call. You go, am I going to defend with this, or am I going to use this as essentially a Fang Strike?
So on of note, when defending with this, it has 1 block. It does not have Battle Worn. It does not have Temper. It does not have Blade Break.
Yep.
So if you block on a turn where your opponent is breaking the chain
Mhm.
for any reason. Like if for some reason you know that Zen's gonna after this play a wind chakra or something, you can block with this again.
Yep.
I think it's a pretty niche circumstance, but I think it is worth noting.
Yep. Same with the head.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Very unique, but yeah.
I think these are like the kimono and this one both have this vibe of like, if you're nearing the end of the game and your opponent has not flipped over their chest or their arms yet, it's probably a pretty good bet that it's one of these two. You know what I mean? Like they seem to kind of advertise themselves, which is hilarious and kind of like I was going to mention this when we started leading into this, is that like as a sealed primer, knowing what these do is probably going to get like committing to memory the kind of options that you have for these cloaked equipment is definitely going to help you in the long run, knowing what like, okay, my opponent probably has this because it's near the end of the game and they haven't flipped over their cloak stuff yet.
Mm-hmm. I will say, other than the Skybody Kyoki or Keikoi, I don't know how to say it, but all of the chess pieces are played as late game pieces because of that one life condition. And when we look at Aqualapse, we also see another sort of watered down, pun intended, version of news equipment. So maybe to sum up the Aqua cycle, and even to move into the Skycrest, Skybody, Sky cycle, it looks like Aqua, I'm going to say, is most likely your indication that you should be in New or Zen, because it has the ability to pump attacks and give attacks go again. And I will say the Skycrest, probably more likely that you'll be using this in Enigma, just for those turns where someone thinks they're being cheeky and can sneak one over just to take care of your ward 4, just enough to get rid of the ward 4. This is your way to prevent that. Do you guys think that is a pretty fair assessment of the common equipment, specifically the Skycrest? Do you guys think this just has a place in Enigma, or do you feel that this is, am I undervaluing it?
It definitely feels way better for Enigma, like the ability to just save one of your bigger ward auras, or maybe an aura that has some counters on it that you're like relying on, you know, acting as your weapon. Yeah, because that there's just the value you get out of that, where normally that leaking that extra 1 would pop an entire ward 4, and you are just giving up 1 piece of armor to save that, you know?
Brice, it could pop ward 10.
It can pop ward 25. It could be a boat.
Well, I'm just saying, they put ward 10 on a card. You know, it's a scary card. But yeah, I agree. I think that's sort of where we're going to see this be played most. Mistveil, any
Nope.
insight here that we didn't touch on?
Nope. I think you guys covered it pretty well.
Onward. Let's move to the ninja, or I'm sorry, the assassin equipment. So we won't have a headpiece in assassin. We won't have a chest piece in ninja. Actually, we do have a chest piece in ninja, but we're missing it in assassin, and we are missing feet. We're missing feet in illusionist. It looks like we might be missing arms in ninja. So yeah, that looks right. Okay, so
now when you say
bear with
missing,
me
you
as
mean
I
there's no common or rare slot for it, there's only a legendary?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
assassin has a legendary headpiece, illusionist legendary feet, ninja has actually a legendary chest, but they do have a common chest piece, so
Yep.
the only one that they don't have a playable for is arms. So let's start off by looking at Heirloom of Snakehide, and this card, we are going to compare it to our Koi Blessed Kimono, which, as we stated before, searches for a chi at the start of your turn if you have exactly 1 life. This can be flipped at the start of your turn if you have exactly 1 life, and it has Battle Worn 2.
Mhm.
So we can consider this, some people would consider this 3 additional life. What do you guys feel like for new? Which would you rather have? Because I know where I'm landing on it, but I'd like to hear from you guys.
Ideally, I'd like both in my deck. Like as a sideboard option, depending upon who I'm going into. If I'm going into something that I think is going to be a much more grindy game, that I'm going to want that cheese so I can play late, I'm probably going to be sitting there going for the other chest piece. Now, Heirloom of the Snakehide, if I'm going straight into a Zen or I'm going into even potentially another new, having the ability just to have that extra 3 life late game, I think is good, because the last thing you want is like a 4 wide tiger hand at the end coming from Zen, and you have no options. So if you get in that pickle late game and they're going wide, they're coming in with physical, I'd rather have this than getting the chi. But again, against something like Enigma, the chi may be pretty helpful.
Is it safe to say that
Brice, how do you feel?
might depend on like how your sealed deck is built, where if you think you're going to benefit more from having chi near the end, or
Mhm.
I mean, I think I would rather have the Battle Worn 2. I think in most situations I would rather have the Battle Worn 2, but that might also because I am like grossly underestimating the impact that chi is going to have late game. It's 3 health is 3 health.
That's true. I have to say, I think that this is the worst of the 2 cards. And I think that for me, what it comes down to is that both of these trigger at the start of your turn, right? And the way I see this is at the start of my turn, let's say I'm in a position where we don't have Kodachis, but we have Tigers, and maybe you can kind of get Tiger locked here, right? And at the start of my turn, the best thing I can do is flip this up. I have an additional 2 to use in the next attack phase of my opponent, and I draw up my cards. If I draw up a chi, I already have a card that doesn't block. If I draw an instant, a card that doesn't block. But as new, if this is a late game scenario, we're going to say in this hypothetical, let's say it's been about 50-50 throughout the game. We're exchanging threats pretty evenly. I would every time rather have the chi to start my turn with, because if there are even 2 cards in my opponent's banish zone, I would be able to play, if they're 2 blues and one of them has go again, I can already play 2 cards. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's true, because does she still need to pay the cost?
She does not.
She does not need to pay the cost. Yeah. So I would rather have the chi. Now I do think this is a good card if you're going into draft and you don't see any of that, or in your sealed pool that's not there. I wouldn't write new off because of this. I think this is a good card. I think the element of cloaked is going to be pretty important, and I also think that this is going to be a card that everyone plays wrong this weekend. Everyone's going to be flipping this up as an instant because of how some of the others work.
Yep.
Is my fear.
Yep.
But I think that this card for me is just one that fills a role if you don't have the Mystic chest piece. So that's how I feel. You guys seem to value Battle Worn a little bit more. Let's move on to Arousing Wave, which if anyone has not been on Talishar in the last month, this card is a monster. This card's a monster because of this concern that New has on a lot of the assassin cards of having activated 2 to 3 more reactions in a turn. To be able to pitch 1, and specifically on a 2-card hand, a lot of the time New is able to pitch to swing her dagger, which on hit will give +1 and go again to her next blue. Then she can play a 0-cost card, and then with that remaining resource, she can always activate this to get the Fang Strike in her hand. And then, if she wants, she can arsenal the Fang Strike, or she could play it if it matters for that additional benefit. There's a lot of options there.
Yeah, I'd say let's just group this and the Undertow Stilettos in the same category, they're basically doing the same thing. One's giving a +1, one's giving you Slither. Both are gross. I mean, you see so many of these in the like I said, the CC decks and things that got on Talishar right now that I think you see either of these and you're playing new, it's an automatic include.
I think
they're just too
if
good.
you have both, you really got to look at your pool and say, what reason do I have to not play new?
Yeah, you get both. It's almost a sign.
Yeah, I mean, when was it? Like last week, 2 weeks ago, when we were just kind of putzing around with those blitz decks on Talishar. Because those blitz decks have been up on Talishar for a while. It was like every turn, it was like, haha, also a Fang Strike and a Slither, and I guess you just have to deal with this now. Just being able to like create those on demand if you have an off turn when you don't naturally create one. Man, they're tough to deal with.
Yeah, I think I think they're great. I think the fact that they are a card that you put into your hand and therefore can kind of just like play some tricks on people, I certainly think that these are a sign, especially in draft. If you're seeing these in draft, pick 3 or 4, maybe even later. I mean, definitely later. If you're seeing these Assassins open, go for new. So let's move on to the Illusionist equipment. Starting with the chest, which if you have exactly 1 life at the start of your turn, you can turn it face up, and it has Ward 4. Notably, it is not an aura, so you can't attack with it. What do you guys think?
I can't attack with my armor? What is this? I thought this was America.
I tried to. Well, yeah,
I throw my shirt
it was a free country. Yeah.
Well, there's no feet in it, so that's, I mean, already kind of a knock on it, because I mean, mid, no feet, mid. I mean, it's yeah, like you kind of said it already. When you look at them, they all kind of follow the same kind of. They're all kind of following that same archetype of when you have exactly 1, you can turn it face up and you get a little more defensive value for the very late game. It's probably the same thing I had to say about the other one. It's going to save. You can pop that and save one of your actual functional auras for like a late game swing. Seems good.
Chris, how do you feel?
Seems good. I think this is where I would pull a Craig and say I'd rather have the other chess piece. But
it's so interesting because I actually think this one is the one I'd rather have. This is okay. Go ahead. Why is that?
Just because I can attack with my Spectral Shield. Late game, again, if I'm getting to 1 life, if I can flip over the chest, get a chi, get a shield, and swing whenever I had to block, like maybe the last turn, everything out of my hand, have nothing left to do. I kind of like that. Again, because the shield doesn't cost anything because of Enigma's ability. It threatens a late game card out of hand if you're at 1 and they're at 1. So I think it's a good card. I'd rather Chi search if I'm Enigma. But again, at the beginning of the show, we said I'm terrible at Enigma, so I may be wrong.
Okay. Follow me here. How do you get to 1 life?
Not blocking.
You take damage. How do you take damage? You don't have ward. Enigma cares about board state. That's huge for Enigma. If you don't have a board state, maybe you're playing one of these newfangled board state strategies where you don't want a board state. I don't know what these kids are up to these days. Playing only 1 aura a turn. In my day, we'd be grateful for 2 auras a turn.
These kids and their skibbity auras.
Well, I think this card is GAT. I don't know how to use that
word. I think you.
I hate you. I
don't know.
So
did
much.
I do it right? No, did I do it? Is this Ohio?
I'll have to go get my elementary school kids to tell you the correct way to do it.
Yeah, well, I think this is Ohio because I think this gives you the space to build your board state up, and it provides you the most life out of any of them, just in terms of raw numbers. Yes, if you take 1 damage, it is the least, but if you use it to cover 4, it's the most. Numbers.
Math.
Sometimes, yeah. So I'm pretty high up on this, actually. This is, to me, a card that I would scoop up pretty early if I was playing Enigma. I cannot say the same necessarily about this next one, Truths Retold, which has Ward 1, and for a resource, you can flip it up, put an aura from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Yeah, I'm sure if you have a bomb aura, like if you pull the yellow majestic card that like takes counters off of spectral shields and then makes spectral shields when you remove count, like that is an engine. It's dope. If you have that and you have Truths Retold, I don't really care what else you have. Play Truths. Like, get that card back. You want to play that multiple times in a game. But other than that, I don't know. Let's see. I mean, the other option is to have a card on demand with a blue pitch in your zone. So I think I'd rather have the on demand card.
Yeah. I mean, what does it look like for so when you're putting a card on the bottom of your deck and your deck is 4 cards because you're really, really late in the game, I mean, that still even feels bad. You know what I mean? Because, like, yeah, okay, you can have one of those absolute bomb auras, but how, you know, if you don't have any options to pitch for it, it's kind of okay, cool, it's at the bottom of my deck and that does nothing. I honestly think that seems more of like a early game use of that to get one of your, like, if you're able to get something out early and then it just gets popped immediately, then you can get that back on the bottom of your deck for second cycle. So, like, I think way more value out of that early game than putting that at the like dead end of your deck when you only have like 5 or 6 cards.
Chris, you're muted.
You're muted, buddy.
You're muted. What is wrong with you? We're not muted. You're muted. Why?
I want to know how he's not hearing us.
I didn't know I was muted.
I thought you were yelling at me because of my opinion.
No. We know we're going to hate your opinion.
If we can hear your opinion, we'll yell at you for it. But right now...
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was like, I like it a lot.
Professionals.
I was going to say,
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. And then you were like, you're muted. And
you
I'm like,
fucking
no.
donkey. You like it a lot, you idiot loser.
No, I like it
All
a
right.
lot.
Welcome to O2 Drop. There's only 2 of us now, and we have an enemy named Mistveil who we hate. Okay, no. Okay, you like it a lot.
So I like it a lot. So again, imagine it's basically, it doesn't have to be late game. It could be, you know, mid game, whatever the case may be. You get the Ward 1. It prevents the damage, which is nice. But you flip it up, you put an aura on the bottom of your graveyard deck. If I can get a manifestation of Mirror Guy in my sealed pool, that's basically 2 of them, which is great. Like,
it's gross, is what it is. It is gross.
Yeah, I will gladly take that card twice any day of the week. You know what I mean? It is one of those things that it is just, I think it's like almost like baby remembrance. And again, if I can go higher than 30 cards or something like that in this sealed format, I may not like it as much. But getting like a baby remembrance with a ward and being able to like get like my key card or something that's going to save me late game, I like it a lot.
But again,
you actually just sold me on it, because I just realized that the way you use this card is you activate it after you've pitched Chi. So that this is a pitch stacking card to get your best aura that cares about Chi. Like,
right on.
For example, Manifestation of Mirror Guy, any aura that cares about Chi. I think that might be
or imagine
majestic one.
Yeah, imagine you have this, you know, flipped upside down. You know, you get the Mirror Guy in hand. You get to 1 life. You flip your chess piece up. You get to grab your Chi. You know, you now sit there and can say, Mirror Guy Chi, go. Or you can play Mirror Guy, let that hit your graveyard, flip this up at instant speed, get it back, because again, the Mirror Guy is in speed. You basically just get it back, throw it to the bottom of your deck, and say, this is late game. I know I'm going to draw it again. Guess what? Mirror Guy's coming right back at you next turn. It is, I think, you're out and allows you to make great pools to basically say I have now a full quote unquote blitz set of this one majestic I got.
Well, Chris, you've actually completely changed my mind about this card, you donkey.
See, aren't you glad I didn't stay muted?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you've definitely convinced me that this is a if not a rock star, a pretty valuable player. And Uphold Tradition, I think, is a fantastic card that I think a lot of players will play it wrong. I think they're going to play it at the wrong opportunity. Don't play this early game. Do not play this early game. Please, dear God, don't play this early game, because you get to do this once. You play this when you have a board state where, yeah, you could swing for 4, or with this card, you can swing for 5 and 5. Play this when you have 2 auras on the field that are already powerful. Don't play this and put it on a spectral shield. Please don't play this and put it on a spectral shield. Even if it seems like the right idea, it probably isn't. Maybe just as an instant speed ability to get 1 damage over if they're at 1 life, or in an Enigma mirror, I could see it. But I think that the power on this, the ceiling is pretty high. Like being able to flip this and give your mirror guy go again. Mirror guy's already going to have counters, but I think this opens up for turns to go a lot wider than they look like they can go. And I'm going to play every match against an Enigma, assuming this is their arm piece.
That's so kind of same deal with the chest. There's the value in it there is the value in it late game, because again, it's the same thing where like if you only have 1 spectral shield, you can go into a turn where you at least can start with a 2 go again. And if you're both last 2 hands, last 3 hands, if you have a game that goes that long, being able to apply the extra pressure to get them to discard their cards is going to give you a big edge there. But I actually didn't think about this until you said something like that. You can also treat this as an attack reaction, right? Like if you have something swinging for 5 and they block 5, and you only need to put 1 over to win the game, then you can if you're already attacking with your wards as weapons, you can treat it as an attack reaction.
I mean, the way I think about it is actually more like these arms are feet. These arms are arms and feet.
Everything's feet. Everything becomes feet.
This is, oh my God, they really made it the foot. This is feet. Like this is go again and +1 on a card, which is just objectively better than go again or +1. And it's not +1. It's +1 plus. It's like X +1, where X is the number of turns it sticks around, right? Because it's going to give you +1 on this turn, but the next time you attack, the next turn you have, if that +1 is permanent. So, I think you play every game assuming that Enigma is running Uphold Tradition.
Good card.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Ninja. Ninja only has 2 cards. Heirloom of Tigerhide, which is finishing the cycle here. Blade Break 3 is its appeal, which that's good. I mean, Blade Break 3, can't scoff at that. Would you rather have this or Chi?
The only thing I really have to say about this card is this is going to look so good in cold foil. I can already tell by the blue stripes and stuff how awesome that's going to look in cold foil.
Well, since we're talking aesthetics, may I just scroll up a little and say that 12 Petal Kasaya extended art has my name on it. This card is so beautiful. Yeah. Of particular note, the nipple.
Got a little nip.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful card. Billy Christian did a phenomenal job on it, has done some really cool art for Fab. And this one I'm super excited for. I can't think of the other piece that he did, but I did look him up as soon as this was revealed.
I was literally about to go Google it and figure out what the other card he did was.
Yeah.
Why is Billy Crystal the recommend like autofill in my Google.
It knew.
So, Chris, Tiger Hide or Chi?
Chi. Blade Break
Chi.
3 is nice, but Chi.
Yeah, I think I think that you know,
Well, wait. So let me think. It. So the Chi for Zen, what does it do? It is let me look at this.
it gets you a tiger and a card with combo. And so my thought is late game, if you don't have enough combo cards, it's not gonna be the best.
Yeah.
Because like the appeal on a no card hand, the appeal on no cards in your hand, you've blocked out. Get the Chi in your hand, make a tiger, and get your pouncing key for 0. So now you just come in 0-4, right? You
Yeah.
come in with a break point. That gets you a little tempo back. I think I'd have the Blade Break 3.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it comes down to like when you get to 1 life in the game state. I think we'll say you convinced me. I'll take the Blade Break.
All right. Let's talk about the skateboard, Stride of Reprisal. Now, obviously, it is not actually a skateboard.
Oh, I see it though. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're like a radical dude like me, you'll see it as a skateboard.
We need to get Mara to make an altar of it as a skateboard.
Get this man some pizza rolls and Mountain Dew. He's just too extreme.
Can I tell you what I had for dinner tonight was not far off from that? I had pickle pizza, which is like the best from Pizza Lupo, and 0 sugar Dr. Pepper with cream soda. This episode is brought to you by, well, actually, is brought to you by a piece of pizza. Let's cut to a commercial, and here's where we're going to run it.
That's a good idea. Wow, what a great piece of pizza that was.
Stay pizza, Armani Pizza.
We love you, pizza. Armani. Please come back.
Yeah. Actually, you know what is embarrassing? I think it makes a whole lot more sense to run it at the beginning of the show. So I think we leave this in as it is. Yeah.
Armani's still staying pizza.
So instead of pizza, this is an open call for a Dr. Pepper sponsorship because I love Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I love me some DP. But oh no.
No.
But in true spirit of staying pizza, there's never a time where we don't keep it 100% pizza. So just because the ad happened at the beginning of the episode does not mean that this was in any way an inappropriate placement. So Stride of Reprisal, when it blocks, create a crouching tiger in your hand. Blade Break 1.
Like it because it's not a 1 life. It's when you can do it whenever. So basically, you got a hand that has a good combo and you need a tiger creator. Don't give me that face, Craig. I know you're gonna already say my idea is shit, but I like this card.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because, in fact, I like this card too.
Yeah,
I like this card too, and I think in limited, it's great. I think I have some unresolved feelings about Zen, and the fact that a lot of people are saying that this is his best in slot. Why does Ninja get Blade Break 1 when every other hero gets to run a fridge now? Why do we get Blade Break 1? Why? That's
the way it's always been.
Ninjas aren't allowed to have Battle Worn.
Mean.
Yeah. I mean
it's so cruel.
Look at it. You got a whole skateboard and just like cloth wrapping up those feet. Like clearly the stilettos aren't going to break whenever you hit them. Like those are some high quality shoes compared to the fabric and rope that's on these guys.
Yeah, not everyone can have dynamos.
Look, when you're this radical, you live fast, okay? And so blocking twice, not going to happen. All I want is a tiger in my hand, except there's no Art of War Unlimited. There's no reason. Yes, there are cards that care about having a tiger in your hand. There are cards that make tigers, and then there are cards that care about being followed up by a tiger and having a tiger come before it, and those cards are often majestic. I think that this card is being overhyped as like as the card to run for Zen. I'd rather have Go Again.
Yeah, I'm not a ninja boy, so we're gonna leave that one up to you.
Well, in that case, I've solved the puzzle definitively. I'd rather have Go Again, and therefore you would rather have Go Again.
So
You
say
will
we all.
stay pizza. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Chris, and I actually do think this is good in limited. I think that if I pool Aqualapse, there's a real chance that I run that instead.
I think it's fair.
The other ninja card that we have to talk about all the way down here, because it is not a Mystic Ninja equipment. Thank you so much, LSS, for this beautiful generic ninja card with Blade Break 1. It's so good. You can tell by my voice that I don't think it's so good. When this defends, put a card with combo from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Actually, great in limited for Zen. However, the reason why I'm being a little pissy boy is they printed a common, no, I believe it's a rare headpiece, Mask of the Three Tails, where if you hit 3 times in this turn, you can break it and draw a card. Why did they not reprint anything from that set, from the Ira deck? It's not up to me. I would have loved to have Mask of the Three Tails in this set, but this is a great way if you have Chi in your hand and want to make sure that you can combo on your next turn to get that combo piece back. So
you think we should call our senators about why they didn't reprint anything from it?
Does that work?
I don't know. I don't see how it could hurt.
I don't think it can hurt. I also don't think running Aqua Seeing Shell can hurt. I know a lot of his cards do care about having a blue pitch in order to make a tiger. So honestly, I'm happy just with Aqua Seeing Shell there. I do understand that late game, if you're running out of combo threats, being able to block with that when you have a Chi in hand just to get it back into, be able to play it next turn, that's valuable. For me, when I play Zen, half of what I want to do is draw a card, and there's just not that much drawing a card in this set. So I'm gonna say that the Aqua one is what is most interesting to me. Let's go through now. We might only have enough time to go through Mystic and generic cards. I don't know if we'll have enough time to go through every class's commons, but
we're at like 50 minutes.
Yeah, we've been going for a minute.
We could just do like yay and nays on some of this stuff, like thumbs up, thumbs down, and then if like we all disagree or like have a split talk about it. But I think we'll be pretty close on most of the stuff.
Okay, so let's start with generics. Rowdy locals, yay or nay?
We're talking strictly limited, right?
I like him feisty more than rowdy, but
I'll say
this is Zen's best card.
Yeah, I'll say thumbs up limited.
Yeah, that's gonna be super good and limited.
This is Zen's best card. This is maybe. This is a great card in Zen. This is a great card in New. Being able to on demand make a Slither or a Fang Strike in your hand and then just discard it can be really good. Being able to discard a Crouching Tiger, really good. I don't really know if New or Enigma is going to be able to get much from it. The Weakest Link. Now these are Majestics though as well, so these are unlikely to see them. The Weakest Link, when it hits a hero, look at their hand, choose a card without a base defense. If you do, they discard it and you draw a card.
Limited trap. Thumbs down.
I think that depends on how many no blocks there's going to be. Like, this is probably, I would say it's a little stronger against Enigma than anything else, but trying to get this to hit when there's all that ward up is I think going to be the issue. But like, there's card draw. It like just draw a card being the last 3 words of that make it seem just like, yeah, that's probably super good. But the other conditions are what's probably going to be a little more difficult to hit on.
If I see this and if I have an arm piece that gives +1 and I see this, there's a very good chance that I'm going to run it. It's going to be very hard for me to ignore a 6/3 block for 2.
I don't know why you wouldn't run it. I'm not saying don't run it. I just think it hitting all of those conditions and having all the stars align might be a little iffy.
All right, the last majestic prismatic of the generics, prismatic leyline. Now, you said you thought the last one was a limited trap. I think this one might be the limited trap to me.
I would agree.
You want to run primarily blues. Yes, it'll give you your next blue attack +3, but Crouching Tigers are not colored.
Nope.
So I don't know if I love this one.
I agree. Not great.
I think it's awesome and constructed. And I also think, like, just as a deck builder, this is such a cool card. It's such a, like, this card rocks as just like a design from a design space.
Yeah. Also awesome. Really cool art.
Mm-hmm. Also, next one with really cool art, and I think is awesome within design space, Blanche, our favorite golden girl. She's sassy and promiscuous.
Has a copy of the Necronomicon. Like, what more could you want in a girl?
Yes, our glimpse into what we hope is the next set. I think Blanche in Limited is, awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so good.
Yeah, when when you have a lot of mechanics that lean on the color of the card being pitched and stuff like that, like yeah. I mean,
do you like
imagine if they have a ley line in their hand. Now none of those effects are on.
Well, now let me ask you: do you think there's one color that's better than all the rest? Because typically we see a 7 for 3 that gets a lot of value, but in this set where blues are more heavily valued, is there one that you think is the best?
A 5 is still an awkward block. The problem is that it costs 3 and it blocks for 2. So like, I don't know. I think the fact that it costs 3 and blocks for 2 means that okay, that's kind of a silly thing to say because obviously the red one is the best one. But I think the block value kind of hurts it a little bit in blue and yellow.
I'm okay with all of them, to be quite honest. I mean, and I just did a quick check just to make sure nothing had Phantasm in this set that would care about the 6, but it doesn't. So
thank you, LSS.
I'm okay with all of these. If I get any of them, I'm probably throwing at least one copy in my deck.
Okay, I like the red the most. We'll go on to another cycle here in a bit where I have different feelings on, but let's move to Emissary of the Moon. When it attacks, you may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. It's for 4 power, 2 defense, as are Tide and Wind. How do we feel about Emissary of the Moon?
0 for 4, hand fixer, no go again, which is, I mean, the hand fixing feels worse when it has to be the last thing you do in the combat chain. So like if that had go again, that'd be absolutely busted.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's a filler card for me. It's just for the no go again.
I agree. I'm not very enthused by it. Maybe if you have a card that you just, you know what? I know where I would play this, or where I see value in it. You play this when the last card in your hand is Chi, but you don't want to pitch it.
Yep.
Because you don't want to arsenal it.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I would say the value of this, and maybe some of the other cards are as well. Emissary of the Tides, I'm a little bit higher on this just because it can come in for 6. Same beginning of the text, put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. If you do, this gets +2. Not exactly Enlightened Strike, but I'm okay with this. I like this.
Yeah, with no go again, I'm okay with the buff.
2 card 6.
Agreed.
Thumbs
All
up.
right. So we like that. Emissary of the Wind. Put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. If you do, this gets go again. No, this one's interesting because I do think that this is probably the best one to just. You can just. I mean, actually, all of them, since it's all a May ability, you can always just choose not to.
Yep.
Put a card on the bottom of your hand and get the additional benefit, which I think actually might make this one the worst one.
Depends on what you're gonna sink for it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if you have a handful of reds, I
yeah,
guess.
if you have something that you can't otherwise play, and then you can just like sink it to give your opening 0 for 4 go again, like seems okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much. I think this is probably the best of the three.
Okay.
I like the go again.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that the general theme with this set is Moon is going to be Enigma, Tides is going to be New, and Wind is going to refer to Zen. Do you guys feel like that is
Agreed.
accurate as far as what you would want to run?
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so you feel that thematically it matches for deck building purposes. Good to know. Let's move on to Gravekeeping, the official Grave of Phi. I think this card is pretty sweet. I think it's pretty obvious what hero gets the most value out of this.
Yeah, especially getting to pick which one that you're going to. I hear a cat.
That's Caius outside my door.
Being able to pick is huge.
So if these are your rares, this is a good sign to go to New.
Yep.
I think that's pretty clear. If you guys don't have any objections, I think the best thing to do would just say, if these next ones are your rares, this is your sign to go to Enigma.
Yep.
So this is where I feel like, unlike most cycles where we would say the red 3 for 7 is the best, I think the best one's the blue one, because this is a card I almost always want to block with in Enigma. When I played that proxy deck, this did so much work because when it defends alone, you prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn, which isn't the same as ward, but you can choose whether or not ward absorbs it or this absorbs it.
Yep.
So you can kind of float this a bit. I think this is a great way to protect your auras in Enigma.
I didn't even think about that, where like, so the damage comes in, you can say I want my ward to be preventing it, and now the bastion prevention is still floating. That's it's a good point.
Which comes in handy because a lot of the cards do care about like when they break, if it's the only aura, right?
Yeah.
So you might want it to break to get a spectral shield or something, and then have this cover the next one and keep your spectral shield. So I think the blue is my favorite in this cycle. Fact-finding mission. When this hits a hero, you may look at a face-down card in their arsenal or equipment zone. What do you guys think about this card?
I think it's some of my favorite art in the set, just because I love the guy's face. Don't like the card. I think the more you play this, especially in limited, the less you're gonna need to guess what's face down.
Yeah,
I think this card's bad. Unless it turns out that the game within the game of guessing your opponent's equipment, like specifically, this is a card where, like, if I am able to hit with this, almost every single time I'm just, show me what your chest is. Show me your chest piece. That way, I'm not surprised, is it something I can risk putting them to 1, or is that going to be game for me? But yeah, I'm kind of not impressed with this. I am actually digging, I'm digging Nimble Strike in this set.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
they put
Nimbleism's
Nimbleism and Nimble Strike back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Nimbleism and Nimble Strike, A+ to me. Great cards.
Okay. Not to be played in Enigma.
No. Fair.
I will. Okay, so because of that, I'm just going to say Evasive Leap. Not to be played outside of Enigma. Not across the board, But this is an underrate cycle of defense reactions, and they are the only well, they're not the only non mystic defense reactions. We do have one ninja one, but as defense reactions in this, I think Enigma can get a lot of value out of arsenaling the blue one, especially getting that having played a blue card effects. But I think overall, these don't seem to me to be fitting the game plan of the assassin or the ninja.
I'm curious about like where those fit in a design space, because I mean I've like talked about we like to talk about like, oh, what if they had a card that did this, like we were kind of like spitballing where like, okay, you're gonna give me an underrate D react but have it have some other kind of benefit. Where's the other benefit other than it just being an underrate D react?
Pitch.
Right? I don't know. It just
Yeah,
it seems
I mean,
it seems like, oh crap, we needed to fill out three more. We needed to fill out three more slots for the full set. So let's just.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
have the answer for you. It's that the blue one activates your chi. It's that the blue one can be used for transcend cards, and I think that's kind of all there is to it. But
Yeah.
however, we're talking about a one block defense reaction that you're
to give that up of one of your limited 30 cards is that's a commitment.
Yeah, and to also transcend on someone else's turn, because a lot of benefits come from transcending on yours.
Yeah.
I will also say, just like, is this person here, is that a human? It looks kind of like animal-esque. It like, I know that the ninjas have a tiger theme this set, but this looks to me more like beastly.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell if it's a rough drawing or if that's like a beast man or something. Like,
I would say it looks like an elf tabaxi hybrid.
Yeah.
There's something cat-like there. I think most likely we can say it's probably just the aesthetic of the tiger theme in this set. Wounding blow.
Red wounding blow's okay. It's okay.
All right, last pick. It's the last pick, I think.
Yeah.
Is probably what most likely. So that leaves us, I think, with just water the seeds. When this attacks, next attack, this combat chain with one or less base gets +1. We have it, folks. Your tiger enabler. Mm-hmm. Hooray!
We did it, Reddit.
Yeah. Pitch a blue Kakara into one of these. Let's say you blocked with your boots last turn. Your tiger's coming in for 2. Woo. You got yourself a stew, baby.
Big kitty.
I like this. Like this with new as well. You could do play a one base, and then if you pitch to blue to pay this, you can now pay for your boots and your arm, buff your attack, give it go again, play in last final attack. Good for new.
Okay. Let's move on to Mystic cards. Which we can find down here in the talent section. Oh no, oh, never mind. My like screen sharing is covering light, so I thought that's what was there. We got to get rid of generic.
There we go.
Kind of weird. Frown. Okay. Skip past. I just want to talk about.
I think we talked about a lot of the chi cards already.
Yeah, and I want to talk about just cards that everyone can run.
Just plain Mystic, yeah, not Mystic Illusionist or yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about cards that you'll likely see in your pool that fill out your deck. Maybe we can do another special episode or something going into individual class cards, but I think what's the most benefit is to go over these. And do you guys want to go over Majestics, or is it pretty safe to say if you pull a Majestic illusion or Mystic card, you should run it? Actually, let's go over them. We could hit them.
Okay.
Attune with Cosmic Vibrations. When it attacks, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If that card's blue, this gets +3 and +3 defense. So it's attack or defend. So this can block for 5 or attack for 5, or it's a 2 attack, 2 defense.
Throw it in. A lot of blue and limited. I think chances of you hitting it are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's where I land on this. Is it's blue. It is a risk, but the likelihood of hitting it is pretty high. And second cycle, come on. Cosmic Awakening. I have a feeling that this is not coming in for 20 in limited most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think it's worth it at 15?
I think trap. I'm not playing it because you still need to pitch 3 blues to play it. So even if you're not getting the 20 late game, I just for it to be 15, you got to get a hand late game, 2 chi and another blue, and this in hand or arsenal. I'm not throwing this in my deck in limited.
I think you could potentially hit 15 with it if you're not confident that you can at least get like the second mode there. If you don't have anything else to fill out your deck with, at least it's a blue 3 block.
I'm playing it in limited. It's a 3 block blue. But yes, it is hard to play. But if you even come in for 10, I mean, yes, you've pitched, 3 blues. I'm not loving it, but I do think it is a card that if you were able to see late game, having transcended a couple times in the game, I don't think it's too hard to come in for. I mean, it is hard to come in for 15, but if you do come in for 15 late game, you should win.
2 chi and a blue. Yeah,
sure.
Levels of Enlightenment. I think that this is almost unanimously considered like one of the best Mystic cards. Do you guys feel that way?
Auto include.
Yeah.
Mini Easter egg. Yep.
Enlightened Enlightenment. Yeah.
Yep.
I think this card's great. I think every hero has ways that they can utilize it. Big fan. I think that New has one of my favorite interactions with it, which is being able to pitch for your daggers. And if one of them hits, being able to give this +1 and go again. And then if you're able to like pitch somewhere else, like let's say you you got rid of the floating resource on one of your equipment to then pitch another blue in this, you can just make this a 6 that naturally has go again and draw a card. Pretty nice. Unravel Aggression is a Mystic D-React for 5, cost 3. If Chi was pitched to play this, draw a card. I think this one is the one that I feel like is the most of a trap.
Oh, I love this card. Mm-hmm. I would play this over the what was it, Cosmic whatever. Any day of the week.
Cosmic Awakening. You're saying Unravel Aggression you'd rather play.
Oh yeah. So basically, you're giving me a blue unmovable, but saying instead of giving it +1 to make it 6, let me draw a card off of it.
If you can get the card draw off, it's better. Like just being able to replace that card is super strong, but that's like a big if. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but 100%. But still, throw this in my arsenal. Wait for a good time to utilize it. Pitch it out. Go. I'm perfectly happy with this card. I would throw it in.
But
every day.
It depends on how long you got to clog up your arsenal with that, and if you're really valuing the extra card draw off of it, it does seem like that's why it seems like a trap, because it feels like there are situations where you're going to end up with that thing sitting in arsenal much longer than you should, because you're going to keep telling yourself, I'm going to draw a chi soon here, and I'm going to be able to get more value out of it, when like realistically you probably should have just blocked with it like 2 turns ago.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I could see that point, but to me, again, I always go back to limited 30 cards. If I could use this to cover most of an attack with reactions and things like that for 1 card out of my deck, as opposed to having to drop 2 3 blocks or a 3 and a 2 or give up something with ward, I like it. I mean, if it was 4, I'd say probably not, but that 5, I like that a lot.
So I think that in limited, I don't know, I haven't landed on the number yet, but I feel like, as far as chi cards go, I could see myself running, hey chef, I think like 2 to 4, maybe 5, probably not 5. Not 5. I think 2 to 4 is probably where I'm gonna land in a 30 card deck.
Are you saying
So
number of D reacts?
no,
No,
number
of
of transcend
transcend.
cards.
Number of transcend cards. Okay.
So I'm
I was too
not
distracted
big,
by your dog, and I missed the first part of that.
He's a cute boy. Oh, look, he died.
Yeah, he's just vibing.
Yeah, it's a hot day. Oh, he back up to eat him own ass. All right. Anyway, so I think that I'm not on this card. I don't really value it very highly. I don't think there's good enough on hits, except for against new, and I think the having to pay for both having to pitch a blue to play this and then putting it, she's gonna banish it, so she'll have access to it later. I don't know that I like it.
I would say if you're
the
playing
next-
against new, sideboard it out because you don't want her to let her play it for free.
That's true. Yeah. So what? I mean, it still costs 3 because she has to activate her ability on your turn. But I will say, this next card I think is like, if you see this card, please try and play Enigma. Please try and play Enigma. This card is so good in Enigma. Attacks that target you get -1. That's all it needs to say.
Mhm.
If a chi was pitched to play this, effects don't trigger if an attack hits you this turn. So good. But
Wait, okay, so effects don't trigger if an attack hits you this turn. What does that mean? On hit effects?
on hit effects, it does not mean ward.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't think it just like ignored ward.
I mean,
like,
at least that's how because I don't think
effects
I
don't trigger. Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think that covers ward.
No, it doesn't.
I'm
I don't
pretty
think
positive.
it. Yeah, it's just weird that that it didn't specify on hit effects don't trigger.
That let's talk about this card. This card to me is the biggest trap card you could see in your limited pool. Orahan of Mystic Tenets. This card is card negative if you pitch it without chi. If you pitch it with chi, it's neutral. Like, this is a card that you play in Zen when you run his chest piece. Other than that, I think that this card is a huge trap.
I don't think so. I mean, if you're running too well in limited, yes. I feel like
pitch 2 cards to play it and draw 2 cards.
Yeah, but what
You've
if
gone down a card?
What if you're okay? In that's what I'm saying.
But
in,
if you
in
pitch
limited,
chi, yes, in limited,
yes,
yeah. Oh, I don't even see it having a use outside of limited if it's not Zen.
right.
I think it. I personally, I don't think you run this in either of the other Mystic heroes. I think you need Zen's chest piece, and I think if you're playing your chi to activate this in limited, you've just used your chi wrong.
Right.
That's how I feel.
I was kind of getting at like, yeah, you're right in limited, but in constructed, like, okay, I have a tunic resource and a chi, and now I have 3 more cards. Like, seems pretty good in constructed, but yeah, for limited, nah.
If Enigma's running a tunic, or I don't know that new is running tunic. I don't really know what I know.
I don't think so.
I think it's tunic and redback shroud. I don't know what else there.
I've been running a lot of tunic in my new.
Okay, so yeah, maybe there. That's fine. But for limited purposes, if I pull this card in my sealed deck, it is not going into my deck, and there's no. There's no blue card that I would not like. I would almost take any blue card other than this. No block, cost 4, card negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So cool. Let's talk about second tentative chi. If you've transcended this turn, when the chain link resolves, draw a card. You know what? I think to talk about this card fairly, we need to talk about what I think is probably an all-star. with a lot of these Mystic cards, and that's first tenet of Wind Chi. Giving a blue action card go again,
Yeah.
I think is awesome. I actually think all of the first tenets are going to be really good in limited.
I'd agree.
Next blue
I'd
is
agree.
2. Yeah.
So we all like the first tenets. Let's go back to the second tenets. I don't like these that much. Like I said, I think maximum I'm going to be transcending 3 times in a game, because I think that if I'm running 4, I'm going to assume at least one of those cards is not going to get transcended.
Yeah.
It 3 for 5 with a potential card draw, like on the surface, seems really good, but I do agree. I think that's where the trap comes in, where you got to use your limited amount of transcends to do something a little more valuable.
Let me tell you the hoops that you have to jump through for this to get its additional value. You have to play a blue card. You have to respond. You have to play a blue card. If that blue card is an instant, and you respond to it with a chi card, maybe you transcend twice. This doesn't get it for each time you've transcended. If it did, I would say these cards are really cool. But so you play a card, you respond to it with an instant, makes a chi. That chi is used to play this card. On a 4-card hand, you have 2 cards, or you have 1 card left. I think that's a lot of hoops. I think it's like too many hoops,
especially for no go again.
Yeah.
I would argue, and the one that has go again is pretty, 3 for 5 go again. Eee.
Yeah, I would argue these are very similar to those generic ones that we were talking about not too long ago. I don't like the card draw. This one, I like the go again less than the go again on the other set of cards. This one, I think the buff, if you're going to play any, the buff is the one that you do. Having a chance to transcend and get to 7 is much better than the draw card or the go again and all that kind of stuff, in my opinion.
I agree. All right, Deep Blue Sea. It gets +1 for each blue card you've pitched this turn, and it has a cost of 4. So you pitch 2 blue cards, and you're at 7, but it blocks 2. I'm thinking a trap.
I mean,
for stuff.
It depends on like if you have something to open it with, and then you're like closing a chain with 7, maybe even an 8 if you're because that would require. It's hard to underpitch when your blue cards are pitching for 3. You know what I mean? Like if that was for every red card you pitch, that would be a lot more fun, because then you could just like underpitch a bunch of stuff and throw it for 9. But like, I guess I wasn't thinking about it from that perspective, where like I guess the idea was if you pitch a blue for like a pitch a blue for a 2 cost something 3 go again. Now you can't underpitch that to get an extra buff, because 1 more blue is going to put you at 4 with the 1 floating. So like it seems like +2 is reasonably like the most you can expect to get off of that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at this card, I'd say we got to look at the wide blue Yonder as well. If I'm seeing both of these in my pool, I'd choose wide blue Yonder over deep blue Sea. Being able to
play
kind
them
of
together. They go together so well.
I mean, they go together well, but I mean, so think of this: a deep blue Sea again. You pitch 2 blues to get it. Like, what are the chances of you having 2 blues in hand and both of these in hand at the same time? Reliably. Probably pretty slim. So if I'm looking at my deck and I'm saying I got one of these, to me, I'm going like, again, let me talk new just because it's who I'm most familiar with. Dagger, pitch a blue, dagger, pitch a blue. I now have 2 floating. Play a card, pay for a reaction or something like that, and play this, and it gets another 2 more off of it. Late game, being able to kind of sneak in 1 to 2 points of damage. I think it's good. I mean, like, to me, this is basically in heavy hitters what Blue Lightning Press was. Everybody looked at Blue Lightning Press and was like, oh, that's a cool ad. But I have won and lost more games of heavy hitters. Or Lunging Press. Sorry, not Lightning Press. Lunging Press. I've won and lost more heavy hitters, sealed, and draft games for limited off of Blue Lunging Press than I thought I was going to. And I think this is going to be a very similar situation.
Are you saying that because people can, let's say you're Enigma, you pitch 2 blues to do this, and then instant you activate your arm piece and pitch a blue
Yeah, so
just to
think
get this
or
an
think about
additional
like
one?
you got so many chess pieces that say things like, or equipment that says, "Hey, if you're at 1 life, you get to do this." How many people are going to go? I'll block just this amount. It gives me 1 life. I'll be able to activate and go. And then if you have this like in your back pocket, that's game. Because they got greedy waiting for that 1 life, this is a game ender.
You're talking about 4 resources though. Still, I mean,
If they're
I think it's pretty. I think that situation that you're painting is going to be a bit more niche. But I do hear
Well,
I do hear what
it
you're saying. But
doesn't even have to be 4 resources. Pitch 1 blue and you're getting +1. That's all you may
no,
need. If they're...
but you have to pay 4 resources for this. So if you're saying
I'm sorry. I'm talking
you're
wide
getting
blue
them
yonder.
to block incorrectly. Oh, wide blue yonder,
Yeah,
I do think is great.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I'm saying. I would pick that over deep blue sea for if we're talking about the
Yeah.
cards that are saying it gets +1 for each one you pitch. Sorry for the confusion.
Okay. Well,
Also-
let's keep.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Brice.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think I would only play the one if I also had the wild blue yonder to go with. Because if you have that in Arsenal, you can pump that to 9. You know what I mean? Because you're getting the plus for each. You're getting the attack gets plus for each one you pitched, and then the reaction gets +1 for each you pitched. So that's like that's 4 instead. You know what I mean? But like wild blue yonder is good on its own. Deep blue sea, I feel like it vibes better if you have like a wild blue yonder to play on top of it.
I think wide blue yonder goes in any deck, and I think deep blue sea and big blue sky go in Enigma.
These are tongue twister cards, is what they are.
Big blue sky, getting +1 defense for each blue card you've pitched this turn. It's just not that common to be pitching that many blue cards on defense if you're not Enigma. This is, to me, through and through an Enigma card, and they put Zen's name on it just to mess with me specifically. Just to say, oh, maybe Zen's a very defensive hero. He doesn't know what he is. He doesn't even know if he's really bald. This young Zen gets me upset. Gorgeous hair. Gorgeous hair.
Don't get yourself into your own identity crisis just because Zen is having one, is the only piece of advice I can give you right now.
First of all, I'm a confident bald man. I got a beautiful dome made of chrome, okay? And Zen, I just think it's a little bit of stolen valor. I don't want to get too political.
Not everyone can be perfect. It's fine.
I think this card is for Enigma.
Yeah.
Droplet. It's funny because I know that we said the water theme is for new. I think these are cool Zen cards. Because I think you have to play blues as Zen, and it's just I do think Droplet's not so great, but
Might as well
4
just put
for
combo
0
in front of those.
It's a lot of
okay.
these like conditional for it's like and it's funny because I didn't put this together until we actually sat and looked through all of them, but there's like that's like the 6th or 7th just like 0 for 4 conditionally thing.
I think
with
the
no
best
go again.
I think the best ones of these are actually not Droplet. I think they're Rising Tide and Spillover, just because of the way that Zen's like cost curve works. So a lot of his cards that make a Crouching Tiger, so there's 2 attacks. One of them costs 2, one of them costs 1, and then there's a non-attack action that makes a Crouching Tiger, gives a Crouching Tiger a buff, and that costs 1. I think like the best one for what I'm seeing is Spillover. So as Zen, you pitch a blue, you play the card that makes a Crouching Tiger and gives a next Crouching Tiger a buff. You play that Crouching Tiger out. That Tiger comes in for 3, and then you follow up with this for 6. Like I think that's going to be the best. I don't think you'll have enough resources for Tidal Surge in Zen, because I do think you want to go wider. And I don't think that like Droplet just doesn't really excite me because it has to be at the end of the turn without go again, and you have to have played a blue when you want to be pitching blues. So I'm a bigger fan of Rising Tide and Spillover.
You're saying you're more likely to have 2 resources floating than anything.
I'm saying if these cards are in your hand and you want to play them instead of pitch them, then yeah, you don't want this to be the only thing you play or pitch, right? Because you have to have played another blue card. So if you're playing another blue card in Zen, if it's a card you're getting any value out of, that means it's not Wind Chakra, right? It has to be something with go again and like either an attack or something that makes a tiger and buffs a tiger. So those have a 1 or a 2 cost.
Mm-hmm.
So these fill out the rest of the cost from the blue that you've pitched this turn nicely. Whereas like, because I guess like, if you play the 1 cost 1 and you have 2 floating, the other option is to use Kakura. And in that case, Droplet, is a good finisher. But most of the time, I think Spillover and Rising Tide are going to be the best.
Makes sense.
Okay, we have another D-React here is Wash Away for 2 resources. If you've played another blue card this turn, it gets +2. What do you guys think?
Same thing like Enigma. You know what I mean? Like that's the only real situation you're going to be playing a blue card on your off turn.
Yeah. I think that's it for me. This is just another Enigma card, and outside of that, it'll underperform.
In the like similar to what you said with the ninja cards, that kind of fits the curve too, right? Because you can like pitch a blue to play one of your instant auras, and then have the 2 floating to get that extra block value out of that. So yeah, there you can block a lot of incoming damage with 1 blue pitch.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can get like, so there's a card, I think Haze Shelter is the one. I think it would be if you played the blue one, if that comes in for 1, I think that Haze Shelter, I think actually comes in for 2, but there's one that comes in for 1. If you pitch a blue, I think it might prevent 2, right? So you'd be able to prevent 7 here, that's pretty good. That's red unmovable, isn't it? Isn't that what red unmovable is? 7?
Yes.
So
Newton,
that's
8?
Pretty good.
No, yeah, 7. You're right.
So we said that these are all pretty good. Let's just do a quick overview to wrap this up. Let's just say the heroes that each of these goes in, which ones we are most excited to play if these are in our pool. I'll start a drop in the ocean. Most certainly this is going to be Enigma.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you want to be playing cards on their turn, and you have to play another blue card to get these transcend, which is why I also feel the same way for Homage.
I'm okay with Homage in any, but yeah.
I think that's true. I think that's pretty fair.
Life gain's life gain, yeah.
I mean, this as long as you've played a card, this is just Heart of Fandel being active, right?
Yep.
You just gain a life and have a blue pitch. Pass over, banish target card from an opposing hero's graveyard. Not only is this good in new, which I think is the obvious choice, but I think you play this in reaction to some of the headpieces that put cards back into.
Yep.
This is a cool utility card.
Yeah.
Yep. You see Enigma pop that headpiece trying to get back in order. You pop this while it's on the stack, and you target what you think she wants.
It's a good point. Yeah.
You don't even need to transcend to get value out of this. So I think this one, while definitely best in new, I'd put it in any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that works.
Path well traveled. Because it's target attack and it doesn't have to be attack action or attack weapon, this is another one that I put in any.
Yep. All good.
It is also, I will say, one of the cards where it has a restriction in that it must have a target, right? So any of these that have target, you have to be able to target something. So Path Well Traveled is, at times if you just have non-attack actions in your hand or something, you won't be able to play this, which means you can't transcend with it. So I think because of that, I'd prioritize like Zen You know what? Actually, maybe even Enigma, because a lot of your auras aren't going to be. You're just not going to be able to get counters on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Preserve Tradition. Target action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. This to me screams Zen, because your power combo cards you're going to want to play multiple times.
Agreed.
I mean,
And this gets you.
It's remembrance again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I think that goes just as well, because I mean we said the same thing about the armor that puts a something from your graveyard on the bottom. You know, seems good for anybody.
Yeah, we definitely said that would be great for Enigma. I think this one.
Oh, action card though.
Zen,
action card. That's the thing that might make it a little funky for Enigma.
You're right. She has a lot of instant auras.
Yeah.
In fact, every Mystic Illusionist card is an instant, just like every Mystic Assassin card is a reaction. So this, to me, another reason why it's screaming Zen.
That's true.
They have less targets than anyone, and this is also like, this is your way of being like, okay, I have the only card that I can close out this game with is a Pouncing Key. I only have one red Pouncing Key. I already played it. Aha, I have this. I preserve tradition. I flip it. I go and I get that card back, and its combo is going to be active. So I'm big on Zen running this card. Rising Sun, Setting Moon. Draw a card, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. This one is one that I like for Enigma, just in case you get in a position where you don't have the ability to play the cost of enough of your cards with ward to cover what's coming in, and you've got a board state built up. You draw a card to just see if you can grab a block, and then you put one of your instants on the bottom.
Hand fixing is always good to try to preserve your board state.
Yeah. I also think that Stir the Pot is probably I'll tell you, it's probably the one that's most. It's not Zen, because Zen's chi ability gets to naturally do this. So if you get Stir the Pot, you're looking at newer Enigma.
Yep, I like it as new, because if you can get the chi and then shuffle it so you don't have to wait as much, maybe get it earlier, you can start banishing.
100%.
Something funny about that card though. When I first saw it, I was like kind of obsessed with the art, because of like it's obviously sort of like supposed to be a nod to Studio Ghibli. But now that I look at it, it actually looks more of just like a knockoff of that art. You know what I mean? It's like not really close enough to it to be like, oh, okay. It's, I don't know. The elements are there, but it looks like a weird kind of like about it. But that's
okay. When you see this in Marvel, Brice, you're gonna absolutely lose your mind, though.
The stir the pot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you see it in Marvel, I feel like you're gonna just dump money to be like, give me.
Oh, I mean,
give me the cat card.
Yeah, man, there's a cat on it. Like, of course I'm gonna want it, but
it's not speaking to you as much as it.
Not as much as when I first saw it. Yeah, I actually kind of like this next one more, just because I
do too.
I appreciate the little gremlin boy up there stealing the rice balls. It's
You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of Pokemon, because Brock always had those rice balls. He would feed them to the Pokemon. So like, some of the Pokemon were very tricksy, and they would steal the food. I think Mankey did that in an episode where he also stole Ash's hat, which is why trivia time, poopy trivia. This will come up again, and you will need to know it. My favorite Pokemon is Mankey. All right. Target attack gets +1. I think that this, to me, my favorite use for this is going to be for New, to get her daggers to hit against Enigma. So when Enigma has a spectral shield, and you go and attack, and then you just play this just to get past the spectral shield and be able to play your next blue with +1 and go again. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Any zero cost pumps are always like, I feel like that's gonna be good.
I mean, Chris was saying how valuable Lunging Press was. This is just Lunging Press.
Yep. Great card.
All right, guys. I think that's a pretty good primer for going into sealed. Obviously, we didn't go into the class cards specifically, but I think
we also don't want to
covered-
be here for 3 hours.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Bryce.
We're
I will talk to
at
you
like
guys
an
for 3
hour
more
and 40
hours.
minutes. We talked for like half an hour to 40 minutes before this. We're done. I'm done wearing headphones. It's hot. It's
It
so
is.
hot.
Oh, it's
right
so
It is very
hot
hot
and
here.
crappy today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully.
Real quick before we move to the end, it is funny that we I think every time we've recorded, we joked about this last week where like every
No,
time
what just came out?
we record, like something comes out. About an hour before we started recording, the official Fab YouTube put out a dev talk, part the Mistveil and its impact on CC meta. And it is an hour-long video. I would have loved to watch it before we started, but then we would have started recording at 9. But I think everybody's homework is to definitely check this out before, maybe not necessarily before your pre-release, because it's specifically talking about the CC meta. But I think our homework should be to watch this and have something to say about this next week.
Okay. I'm now just waiting for them to like drop a bomb in there. Like you've just been, Brice, you made me nervous.
Here's Adult Blaze. Everybody have fun.
Yeah, holy crap.
Oh my god.
Should
Dude,
we switch what day we record? Because this is like every time this happens to us.
Well, no, because it's not that. It's that they plan around the O3 Dropcast.
They're planning around us. They don't want us to
Yeah.
have the good info.
Yeah.
We're too powerful as is.
That's clearly what it is. It's our strong Brazilian fan base who we love you, Brazil. Okay. Well, this was a wonderful episode. It was nice hanging out with you guys, and as my good friend Armani Pizza likes to say, stay pizza.
Stay. Oh, did you give it a Towley voice? I really like stay.
No.
Stay.
It was like
I
New
can't even do
Yorker.
it. Stay pizza.
Stay pizza.
No, I gave it like the worst Italian accent. Like I was like,
It's fine.
"Hey, I'm pizza here."
I'm walking
but then
over here.
I did it so many times, and the like recording was kind of like just like not going great, especially because I had to film my face, but the way that I'm not like the bet, like this is a new editing thing I was like trying, so I had to keep my face very still while recording. So like I'd want to be like getting into like a character and be like ba 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 ba, but then my face would be moving, and I like could not use that footage. So I recorded that video, guys. The work that goes into making shitty content is exhausting. I put in maybe 3 hours into that video.
3 hours
When
is a lot for a shit post. I'm gonna, yeah.
It's a 60-second ad that no one asked for and we're not getting paid for.
Just send John a bill anyway for your advertising services. Just be like, I
Yeah.
know you didn't ask for this, but here's what I'm charging you.
I had a thought in mind that was like, you know what I should do? I should DM it to him and be like, if you like it, for $200, I'll put it on our Twitter. And then I was like, that is like not the way to do this. Just you made it for them. It's a gift. But we're so excited for camp. I get more excited by the day.
Yeah, super stoked.
I think about it a lot.
We think about you a lot, Armani Pizza.
We love you,
All right.
Armani.
We love you,
R.I.P.
Armani. We look forward to seeing you at our next armory. And we love you, Brazilian fan base. As they say in Brazil.
Oh, and Nick.
And Nick
And Jamie.
Corner.
And
Jamie in Brazil.
And Jamie.
Hey, Nick Corner's friends. Thank you for watching. We don't know why you don't play Flesh and Blood, and we don't know why you watch this podcast, but you are invaluable to us. So we love you. Anthony Fantano.
I gotta go do laundry. Let's move this along.
All right, let's drop out. All right, bye guys.
Bye everyone.
Stay pizza.